colored, absorbing black, even in PPL. Then black lines, yung mga grain boundaries, cleavage, microfractures. And then one of the applications of petrography is to study fluid inclusions. So they appear as small, irregular, rounded areas. And sometimes due to the imperfect na procedure sa paggawa ng thin section, merong mga holes, fractures, and patches. So in PPL, they will appear white. Pero pag XPL, they will appear dark kasi glass or epoxy. And then mga bubbles, mga small circles within cavities or in fractures filled within the cementing medium or superimposed on the mineral. Okay, diba? During the process, after na ilagay ang epoxy, so it will be superimposed on the mineral, meaning above siya sa surface of the mineral. And then sometimes meron ding mga grinding grit na may include sa thin section. So they will appear as black dust or transparent to dark blue, black angular grains of high relief. So they will tend to accumulate in fractures or at the edges of the thin section. So the difference between fluid inclusion and bubbles is that yung mga fluid inclusions, they are irregularly shaped. Pero yung mga bubbles, they are perfectly circular. So that's a general way para ma-identify kung fluid inclusion ba siya or bubble. So as you can see, ang bubble, it is superimposed above the mineral surface. So, and then in optical, we have to classify the shapes or describe the shapes using these terms. So these are just few of the terms that we can use. Articular, anhedral, bladed, columnar, equant, euhedral, fibrous, lath-like, prismatic, subhedral, tabular. So I think you are familiar with these terms since commonly nadidiscuss itong mga terms, mga crystal shapes or crystal habit. So, difference between euhedral, subhedral, and anhedral. Ang euhedral, perfect faces, is a perfect na polygon. Ang subhedral, subperfect, meaning there are portions in which meron siyang curvature. And then anhedral, wala talagang perfectly formed na face. Other terms that we can use, idiomorphic, hypidiomorphic, xenomorphic. I think Latin or Spanish ni siya ng mga terms. So, appearances in thin section, mga euhedral na mga minerals, perfectly shaped. Subhedral, merong parts na irregular. And then anhedral is yung mga minerals na walang perfectly well-formed na faces. So we can also relate this to crystallization sequence. Diba? Yung mga euhedral, these are early forming minerals. And then yung mga anhedral, late forming minerals. So, euhedral, they have the ability to create a well-formed face. It's because sila yung una na nag-form. Whereas yung mga anhedral, such as quartz, late na sila na-form. So therefore, they have to fit in sa available na spaces within crystals. So these terms, this can be these descriptions, this can be used to identify the crystallization sequence of the minerals in the thin section. But there are exceptions, pero that's not part of the lecture. And then other terminologies, fibrous, acicular, laminar, tabular, prismatic, equidimensional. Ito. Equidimensional pag ang mga polygons, they have the same, almost the same shape. Prismatic pag elongated. And then mga tabular, then mga fibrous, and then mga acicular. So, there is a slight difference between fibrous and acicular. As you can see, mas thinner ang fibrous as compared to acicular. Again, the shape of the mineral is dependent on the type of cut. So, some minerals will appear different depending on, for example, this is a single mineral. It can appear square, triangle, or rectangle, depende kung saan siya nakat. Pag dito, rectangle. Pag ito, square. Pag sa corner, triangle. Also, the same section can come from different minerals. So for example, triangle, pwede siya ma-form sa octahedron na shape, octahedral shape mineral, cubic shape na mineral, prismatic na mineral. Square can be produced sa octahedral, cubic, prismatic. So, ang first case, different shapes in a single mineral. Ang second case, isa ka shape, multiple possible na minerals or multiple possible na habit sa hand specimen. So, it depends on the cut of the mineral. So, in plain polarized light, without analyzer, and then using orthoscopic illumination, these are the properties that we can describe. The relief, the color, pleochroism, cleavage, habit. Okay? These are properties that can be observed in plain polarized light. This is important kasi what if in the board exam, ang question is, which of the following cannot be observed in plain polarized light? And then my options, pleochroism, relief, interference figure, cleavage. So wala ang interference figure dito, therefore ang correct answer is interference figure. So you have to remember kung ano yung mga properties na pwede natin ma-describe using PPL. First is relief. So again, it is the difference of refractive indices. It can be described as zero, low, medium, high. So these are examples of what the mineral looks like under each category. Pag almost zero, very faint ang boundaries. Low, thinner ang boundaries. Medium, may pagka-thicker siya. And then yung high, very thick or very black ang boundaries. Now, remember that relief is dependent on the type of medium. So therefore, relief changes when the immersion medium is changed. So, for example, same mineral, different media. So nag-change din ang kanyang relief. For example, higher ang kanyang relief pag sa air, and then nag-decrease, and then na well-defined pagbalik pa sa n equals 1.63 na refractive index. So this is the use of refractometry. So you will change the immersion medium until makuha mo yung perfect na match. So in this case, saan yung perfect na match? Anong refractive index? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Di ba the goal of a refractometry is to estimate the refractive index of the mineral. So dapat, anong appearance ng mineral pag nag-match ang kanyang Ri sa medium? Is it 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5? It should be 4. Therefore, we can say that the Ri of the mineral is close to 1.54. So that is the process of refractometry. You will use multiple immersion medium para ma-determine kung ano yung match na refractive index sa ginagamit na immersion medium. So, the closest na Ri here is the medium with n equals 1.54. So you can say that this unknown mineral has an Ri of approximately 1.54. Also take note that relief is proportional to the absolute value of the difference. So, di ba, we have already identified that the mineral must be close to 1.54. Now, the difference between 1.54 and 1.43 as well as 1.63 are very close. So therefore, same ang kanilang relief. Yung isa positive, yung isa negative. So saan dito ang positive, saan dito ang negative? Anong figure? Is it the left or the right figure? Di ba positive pag saan ang mas mataas pag positive ang relief? Is it the mineral or the medium? It is the mineral. So therefore, dito na side, positive ang relief. Sa right side, negative ang relief. Another feature is that relief can vary within the same grain. Because remember, some minerals, the anisotropic minerals, have 2 or 3 refractive indices. So therefore, kung ano yung refractive index na dominant, yun din ang ma-register sa relief ng isang mineral. So therefore, as you rotate the stage, the relief will also change. Again, due to the birefringent nature of anisotropic mineral, meaning dalawa ang kanyang refractive indices. So for example, as the stage is being rotated, follow this mineral, nag-change ang kanyang relief from low to very high. Because highly birefringent siya. Mataas ang difference ng N1 and N2. So it can vary within the same grain as you rotate the stage. So in preparing a tin section, one of the typical medium is the Canada balsam. So its refractive index is 1.54. Sometimes maglabas to sa board exam, what is the Ri of Canada balsam? It is equal to 1.54. So far, we have studied the refractive index between a mineral and an oil. But relief can also be quantified based on adjacent na grains. So each grain have different refractive index. So therefore, meron siyang relief in between the contact of those two grains. For example, this one, 1.78 ang kanyang refractive index. And then, it is in contact with another mineral, which is ang plagioclase, na 1.56 ang kanyang refractive index. So mataas ang difference, so well-defined ang kanyang relief. Black ang kanyang boundary. Pero pag for example, ang in contact ay plagioclase at saka quartz, and then ang gamit mo is PPL. So may well-defined ba na boundary ang between plagioclase and quartz? Hindi masyado. So parang isa lang siya na mineral pag naka-PPL. It's because the Ri of quartz and plagioclase are very close. It's only when i-insert mo ang analyzer that you can see the boundaries between quartz and plagioclase. Pero pag PPL, wala siyang well-defined na boundaries. Okay. Same mineral, yet some of the parts nag-change ang kanyang relief. So this is number 2 na mineral, number 1 na mineral, and then number 3 na mineral. In between number 1 and number 2, high ang kanyang relief. Pero in between 2 and 3, low ang kanyang relief. It's because they have the same refractive index. So that's between minerals in contact or adjacent na grains. So before we proceed to the next property, let's have a quiz first. So this is a visual guide para ma-estimate ang relief of a mineral. So neutral, pag almost walang boundary. Low, pag faint ang boundary. Moderate, high, very high, and then extreme, pag black na siya. So let's use this as a guide para ating i-estimate ang relief of the following pictures. Ito, high. If we compare that here, that is very high. How about this? Extreme. Ito, high. Ito, very high. Low. Ito, low to siya. Ito, either moderate or low. How about this? High. Well-defined ang, kani ito, it's a contact between mineral grains. How about this? High. Ito, high din. Very high. Ito, moderate. How about this? High. Pwede din moderate. Okay. So, depende siya sa mata ng petrographer. Kung gaano ka-clear ang kanyang eyesight. So, the idea is that ma-describe natin kung gaano ba nag-stand out ang mineral grain. Wala namang perfect na description as long as ma-describe closely ang appearance ng grains. Next is the appearance of opaque and transparent minerals. Black, opaque. Pag may color, transparent. So the color of transparent minerals depend on what wavelengths are absorbed by the mineral. So if all wavelengths are being transmitted, the mineral will appear white. Pag lahat ng wavelength ay na-transmit. But if very low ang transmittal pero lahat pa rin ng wavelength, it will appear as gray. Pero pag na-absorb lahat ng wavelength, it will appear as black. Now, what's interesting here is that the color of a colored mineral will appear as the complementary color of what is absorbed. So for example, a mineral appears green, it's because its complementary color, red, is absorbed. So di ba ito, number 4. Green ang mineral because red is absorbed. Green and red are complementary. So we can use the absorbance color wheel para ma-determine kung ano ang color ng mineral depending on what wavelength is absorbed. For example, if red is absorbed, then the color of the mineral is green. If blue is absorbed, the color of the mineral is orange. Orange? Orange ni? Yes, orange. And if yellow, sometimes dark blue or dark red. So, dili pasabot na green ang mineral kay green ang na-transmit lang. But it is the red wavelength nga na-absorb that causes the mineral to appear green. Diba? Kaya our initial assumption, okay, yellow ang mineral. It's because yellow ang na-transmit. But it's not the case. Kay based on the absorbance color wheel, it is the either red and blue ang na-absorb, ang iba na-transmit to combine it to become yellow. So, color is typically not a diagnostic property. But there are minerals that we can use color as a way to identify the mineral. So these are general rules. Colorless, yung mga quartz, feldspars, muscovite, kyanite. Kyanite, another name of kyanite is justine. Due to two directions of hardness. Diba yung kyanite, may 5 na hardness at saka 7 na hardness. So that's why kyanite is also known as justine. And then sillimanite, olivine, garnet, calcite, aragonite, gypsum. And then colorless or color depending on the size of the grain such as tourmaline, chlorite, andalusite, epidote, chloritoid, glaucophane. And then yung mga always colored, mga biotite, hornblende, augite, staurolite, piemontite, rutil. Yes. Usually, ang fluid inclusions, they occur as group. So, within the group, most of them are irregularly shaped. Pero some of the fluid inclusions may be perfectly circle. But since they occur as a group, you can identify it as fluid inclusion. Yung mga bubbles, typically isolated ang mga bubbles as compared to fluid inclusions that are usually in zones or groups. So, examples of colorless minerals. This one is quartz. Ito, calcite. So, you can easily determine calcite due to its what type of cleavage? Rhombohedral cleavage. So, angular ang kanyang intersection. May angle ang kanyang intersection. And then, olivine. So, olivine is one of the easily identifiable due to its fractures, heavy fractures. It's because olivine is very unstable, so fracture siya. And then pyroxene, which is typically prismatic. And then also ang kanyang cleavage na 90 degrees. And then this one is feldspatoid, feldspato. And then mga yellow minerals. Ito, staurolite, hyperstene, and then epidote, and then egerine or egerine. Then biotite, ang brown. And then augite, yellow. Yung mga commonly brown minerals, biotite, cassiterite, and then silomelane, egerine, and then tourmaline. So, sometimes yung mga yellow will appear brown, yung mga brown will appear yellow. And then mga green minerals, chlorite, titanite, hornblende, actinolite, mga common green minerals. So these minerals are typically green in hand sample. So sa tin section, green din. Then mga blue minerals, yung mga minerals na blue in hand sample, blue din sa tin section. So rabicite, which is an amphibole. Then tourmaline can sometimes appear blue. And then this one is glaucophane, which is a common blue mineral. So di ba, we have an idea kung ano yung mga commonly green mineral, commonly blue mineral. Yung tin section, same din ang kanyang mga colors. And then mga red, piemontite, andalusite, and then yung mga opaque minerals in transmitted light. So like graphite, magnetite. So how do we study opaque minerals? We have to use reflected light microscopy. So we cannot perfectly identify opaque minerals using transmitted light. We can only identify opaque minerals if we switch to reflected light microscopy. So reflected light microscopy is typically used in studying ore minerals because ore minerals are typically opaque, ang mga ore minerals. So here is a summary of minerals with distinct color. So yung mga colorless such as quartz, calcite, plagioclase, muscovite, feldspar, yellow, biotite, staurolite, brown, sometimes ang hornblende will appear brown, sometimes green. So, hornblende, biotite, tourmaline. So, yung pinaka-common na brown mineral is ang biotite. And then, green minerals, we have chlorite, epidote, actinolite. Yung mga minerals na green in hand sample also appears green in tin section. Epidote, yung kanyang distinguishing color is pistachio green. Blue, glaucophane, kyanite, sometimes it will appear colorless. And then opaque, mga ore minerals such as magnetite, hematite, pyrite, ilmenite, chalcopyrite. So opaque minerals are typically ore minerals. So ore microscopy is another broad na subject or topic specifically used to identify ore forming minerals. So that uses reflected light microscopy. But for transparent minerals, that's transmitted light microscopy. Okay, quiz before we proceed to the next topic. Determine the color of the following in PPL. First is quartz. What is the color of quartz in PPL? Colorless. Calcite. Colorless. Biotite. Brown. Magnetite. Black or opaque. 5. Glaucophane. Blue. Next, which of the following does not appear colorless in PPL? Olivine, pyroxene, feldspar, biotite. Biotite. Biotite appears brown. Which of the following appears opaque in PPL? Glaucophane, pyrite, andalusite, kyanite, pyrite. Which is incorrectly matched to its color in PPL? Quartz, colorless, calcite, gray, kyanite, blue, hornblende, green. Calcite, na gray. Ang hornblende, di ba, ang hornblende will sometimes appear brown or green. Ang kyanite, colorless to blue. Quartz, colorless. Ang calcite, gray, siguro, pero typically it is colorless ang calcite. Pero may mga questions sa board exam na you are not sure saan ang answer. So, in order to reconcile, always choose the best answer. So, if you are sure nga quartz is colorless, kyanite blue, hornblende is green, but you are not sure if calcite is gray, then choose calcite. Okay, you are not sure about calcite. Okay, so that's how we can use color to identify minerals. Next is pleochroism. So, pleochroism can be manifested by a change in actual color. Pwede siya from blue and then maging green. Or pwede din siya change in the intensity of color. For example, light blue to dark blue, light green to dark green. So how do we identify pleochroic minerals? You have to rotate the stage para ma-identify ang mga pleochroic minerals. So this one is hornblende na may pagka-brown or into yellowish. As the stage is rotated from light brown to reddish brown or dark brown. So, dapat i-rotate ang stage para ma-determine ang pleochroism. Another is ang biotype. Sometimes from light brown to dark brown. White, almost colorless. And then another rotation, naging dark brown or reddish brown. So, the color changes as the stage is being rotated. Or the intensity, pwede ang intensity. Another hornblende na sad. This one, different ang iyang color as compared to the first example. Dito, may pagka-bluish. From brown, I think greenish or bluish. Greenish? Okay. Bawal ang may kuan. Colorblind. And then, glaucophane. From dark blue to colorless. So, in preparation for the board exam, it is not necessary that you will memorize the pleochroism of all minerals. Kadto lang mga common na mga minerals na pleochroic. Identified na common pleochroic minerals like hornblende, biotite. Other minerals na although may pleochroism sila pero hindi common, it's very unlikely na lalabas sa board exam. Only the common pleochroic minerals. So here is a summary. So biotite, may 3 different colors depending on which direction is dominant. Especially sa biaxial na tatlo ang indices of refraction. So may colors din associated with each index of refraction. So biotite, sometimes pale yellow to dark brown, hornblende, yellow-brown to dark green, hypersteam, pinkish to brown, tourmaline, pale brown to blue-green, chlorite, colorless to green, epidote, yellow-green to brown, glaucophane, blue to violet, muscovite, colorless to brown. Again, meron siyang pleochroism due to different indices of refraction in X, Y, and Z direction. So it depends on the cut of the mineral. Quiz about pleochroism. Which mineral has pale yellow to brown pleochroism? Glaucophane, calcite, tourmaline, biotite. Biotite. So, ganyan ang mga type of questions na pwede maglabas sa board exam. So, wala na akong remember. Actually, wala na akong na-remember sa mga board exam, even sa day 1 and day 2. Ako ang na-remember is sa day 3, na katong last part na calculations, I think 5 points, na wala ko kabalo sa unsaang formula, pero ako ang way para maka-answer ko is through dimensional analysis or cancellation of units para ma-reach ang kadtong nasa options. So pwede rin na kung wala mo kabalo sa formula tapos kabalo mo mag-cancel og units, basta hindi ay after ninyo pag-cancel ang inyong final answer na dahil sa options. Kaya na lang. Kapag ako ang na-remember nga naa siya calculations pero wala na gid ko kabalo sa kusa na mga calculations. Sa day 1 wala na ko'y ma-remember. Sa day 2 na ako'y na-remember kay wala ko kabalo. Katong mga chemicals chemicals used for etching, katong alizarin red S, staining day, alizarin red, kana sila ng mga chemicals. High ang probability na at least isa ka item about staining sa ang color. Pero kato nga time, I think tulo ka questions, tapos ang duha ka question, same question. Tapos wala ba gid ko kabalo sa duha, so duha na ka point. Ha? Oo. Naginataas ang probability that questions are duplicated kay random siya from the question bank. For example, katong licensure exam for teachers ko, part 1, part 2, and part 3 may duplicate na mga questions. It's because of random na pagkuha sa question bank. And then, next property that we can describe in PPL is cleavage. So, how does cleavage appear in the thin section? So, cleavage appears as parallel lines. So, cleavage can be one direction, two direction, or even 3 or 4 directions. And still, cleavage is dependent on the orientation of the cut. So, for example, a mineral with 2 direction of cleavage in hand sample may appear to have 1 direction of cleavage in thin section, depending on the cut. So, typical minerals with 1 direction are those minerals with layered structure, such as phyllosilicates, Dalawang direction for pag dalawang cleavage din in hand sample. And then 3 to 4 directions such as octahedral cleavage and rhombohedral cleavage. So, parallel lines ang appearance of cleavage. Examples of minerals with one direction cleavage is typically ang mga phyllosilicates, biotite at saka muscovite. So they are phyllosilicates. In hand sample, they have one direction of cleavage. So we can also see one direction of cleavage in section. That is pag perpendicular sa cleavage direction. Pero if you cut parallel to the cleavage direction, therefore you cannot see cleavage. So therefore, for phyllosilicates, the maximum cleavage direction is 1. It can be 0 or 1. Identify parting. Wait. Parting is more on related to mechanical man gud siya nga nature. So probably nasa'y siguro some kind of deformation sa appearance. But wala ko'y na-include about parting na appearance sa inception. And then two direction of cleavage such as pyroxene. Di ba ang pyroxene in hand sample 90 degrees. So you can also expect that in thin section. And then ang mga amphibole 56 degrees, 124 degrees. You can also expect that in the thin section. And then there are minerals with 3 or 4 directions of cleavage. Dito, tatlong direction, dito 4 na direction. So, isa, dalawa, tatlo. So, 3 directions. Dito, 1, 2, and along each diagonal. So, 4. So, ang 3 directions of cleavage, typically calcite na may rhombohedral cleavage. Ang 4 directions, I think fluorite na may octahedral cleavage. And then, you can also expect minerals without cleavage, such as olivine and quartz. Because these are minerals na walang cleavage. Instead, they have fracture. So, highly fractured na olivine, and then sa kabila is quartz. Okay, these are isolated mineral grains of quartz. And dito, entirely, majority is olivine na highly fractured. So summary of common minerals with their cleavage directions. One direction is muscovite and biotite. Two directions, feldspars, amphiboles, pyroxene. Three directions, calcite, halite, galena. Four directions, fluorite. Fluorite has an octahedral cleavage. And then, walang cleavage, yung mga quartz, olivine, and garnet. So, they have conchoidal fracture in hand sample, walang cleavage sa thin section. So, yung mga minerals with 3 directions of cleavage are those minerals with rhombohedral cleavage or cubic cleavage in hand sample. So, di ba, galena has cubic cleavage, halite also has cubic cleavage. Okay, quiz before we proceed to the next topic. Determine the max number of cleavage directions of the following minerals. First, biotite. 1. Quartz. 0. Calcite. Hornblende. 2. Olivine. Wala. 0. Max number, again, max number, because depending on the cut, mag-iba ang orientation of the cleavage. For example, biotype, either walang cleavage or may one direction of cleavage. So we are now done with properties in plane polarized light. Now let's proceed to properties in XPL or cross polarized light. So properties in XPL can be divided into two. First is by using orthoscopic illumination, in which using orthoscopic illumination, we can identify the interference color, extinction angle, sign of elongation, twinning, and zoning. So first is interference color. So just like our discussion yesterday, it is dependent on retardation or the amount of distance between the two vibrating rays, which are the fast ray and slow ray. So it depends on the thickness of the thin section and the birefringence of that mineral. Recall that the birefringence is simply the difference of slow and fast rays. So how do we describe interference color? So using the Michel-Levy chart. So in the Michel-Levy chart, you have the retardation, which is in terms of wavelength in the horizontal axis. So, diba? Each wavelength has a corresponding color. It is a function of the thickness of the thin section and the birefringence of that mineral. Take, for example, olivine. So, olivine has a birefringence N1 minus N2 of 0.036. So, you can find 0.036 here. So, using this line, you can see that the interference color of olivine varies with thickness. So, at 10 microns, yellow. 20 microns, second order green. 30 microns, second order red. 40 microns, third order yellow. And then 50 microns, 1, 2, 3, fourth order green. Diba? The interference color of the mineral will vary due to thickness. But the standard thickness is 30 microns. So therefore, if your thin section is close to the standard thickness, you should expect that the olivine will have a second order red interference color or sa magenta na part. Pero pag some minor changes, pwede siya maging yellow o pwede siya maging green. And then thicker pag yun siya, pwede siya may pagka-blue, third order green, then third order yellow. That's why sa thin section, nagavary ang color sa minerals. In this case, olivine. So, the same mineral can present different interference colors depending on its thickness. The second case, with the constant thickness, the interference colors will depend on the birefringence of each mineral. So for example, at standard thickness, yung mga low ang birefringence, dapat gray, white, first order yellow. Yung mga higher ang birefringence, mga pastel color. Pastel white, pastel green, pastel red. So as you increase the order of interference colors, the color will appear creamy. So that's the adjective that we can use to describe highly birefringent minerals. Okay, another quiz. Determine the order of interference color. Ito. What is the order? That is second order. Kay magenta, that means this is the first order, this is the second order. But since this is the center of the mineral, so you will use the center color to describe the interference color of the mineral. Hindi yung edge. Dapat yung center of the mineral. Mnemonic sa to from edge. I-follow lang nimo ang picture. Very likely kay computerized man. Na sila'y freedom to show pictures due to the computerized nature. Pero using this quiz, even if concept-based ang question, mas ma-remember that in order to identify the order, you will start from the edge. Okay? So, even if walang picture na specifically ganito sa board exam, pero what is my question now? How do you determine the order of interference color? So by practicing using pictures, mas ma-recall kung ano ang process. Okay? How about this one? First order lang. It's because walang skip, walang magenta sa figure. And then this one, is this first order, second order, or third order? Nana kay magenta diri oh. This is second order. Second order color. Okay? So that's how you identify the order of interference colors. Let's proceed to the next property that we can describe using conoscopic illumination, and that is extinction angle. So remember, not all grains within the thin section na ma-identify mo ang kanyang extinction angle. You can only measure extinction angle if the mineral is elongated or if may cleavage. Otherwise, wala kang reference in order to measure the extinction angle. So, how do you measure extinction angle? First is you will align the longest dimension or the cleavage either sa east-west or sa north-south. And then you will insert the analyzer and then slowly rotate. Then, after rotation and then nag-extinct ang mineral, kung ano yung angle sa stage, yun din ang extinction angle. If you started at 0. Pero if you started at a different angle, then you have to subtract sa final and initial angle. Diba? Ang stage may angle na labels or markings. So first, you will align the elongated direction or the cleavage to the east-west, pwede din north-south. Then you will insert the analyzer. Then you will slowly rotate the mineral until extinction. Then that angle is the extinction angle. So here is an example. So this one is already aligned sa east-west. Then the analyzer is inserted. Then you will slowly rotate the mineral until extinction. Then that angle will now be the extinction angle. Anong klaseng extinction? Inclined extinction. So in this case, the extinction angle is 30 degrees. Okay. Next is the sign of elongation. So we discussed this yesterday. So we classify sign of elongation as length slow, also known as positive, or length fast, also known as negative. So how do you determine sign of elongation using the microscope? First is you have to position the mineral in extinction position, and then you will turn the mineral to 45 degrees. So that the mineral will align with the direction of the either the slow ray or the fast ray of the compensator or the accessory plate. And after na-align sa 45 degrees, you will insert the compensator and then you will observe the changes in interference colors. Pag mag-increase ang color, that is length slow. Pag mag-decrease ang color, that is length fast. Okay, quiz. So this is plagioclase. This is oriented northwest. Remember, the compensator is also inserted this way. And then, ang compensator, take for example, this is the compensator. The fast ray of the compensator is also along this direction. Now, after inserting the compensator, this is now the color of the plagioclase. It becomes blue, which is second order, diba? So if this is the length, and then nag-align ang length sa fast ray of the compensator, therefore this is length fast. Gets? Okay, fast, ang problem man good is, ang atong orientation kagahapon is northeast. So therefore, our basis was the slow ray of the compensator. But in this case, we aligned the mineral in the northwest direction, which also aligns with the fast ray of the compensator. So from first order gray, after the compensator is inserted, naging second order blue. Nag-increase siya, it's because ang fast of the mineral nag-align siya sa fast of the compensator. So constructive interference because fast on fast. So nag-align siya sa fast, so therefore this is length fast. Pero pag i-align natin sa northeast direction, length slow ba? What can we expect sa color? What if we align plagioclase in the northeast direction? What color will you observe? Is it still blue or yellow? Blue or yellow? Dapat yellow siya kasi length fast siya. Nag-align siya sa slow of the compensator pag northeast. Gets? So, pag northwest, blue ang appearance, pero pag i-align mo ang plagioclase sa northeast, maging yellow. Still, it is length fast. Naging yellow siya, it's because ang compensator, northeast ang slow, and then nag-align siya sa fast ray of the plagioclase, therefore, slow plus fast, destructive interference. So, naging yellow. So, depending on the orientation, mag-change din ang color. So, sa case sa plagioclase, blue siya pag northwest, yellow siya pag northeast. But still, it is length fast in both quadrants. Ang nag-change lang is ang color. How about this? Is this length slow or length fast? So first, nag-decrease ba ang color or nag-increase? So from blue without quartz plate, naging first order gray with quartz plate. So therefore, nag-decrease. So if nag-decrease, tapos ang fast ray, the compensator is in this direction, therefore it means na along this direction of the mineral is the slow ray. So therefore, length, and then along that length is the slow. So we classify this mineral, or we describe this mineral as a length slow. Take note ang direction. Again, this is north, west. Pero pag northeast, dapat mag-increase siya. Kay, since it is length slow, it will now align with the slow ray of the compensator or the accessory plate. Medyo confusing siya at first. Even ang undergrad na students, ma-confuse sila kay the interpretation will change. The observation will change depending on the quadrant, but the interpretation still remains the same. Ang final answer, pareho lang gihapon. Kung length slow siya, length slow gina siya na mineral. Dili siya pwede mahimong length fast in another direction. Okay, next is twinning. So we are familiar with twinning. So you can identify twinning because of different interference color as well as different extinction position at different parts of the mineral. So examples of twinning is the polysynthetic twinning in plagioclase. So you are very familiar with polysynthetic twinning. It consists of parallel na lines. As you rotate the stage, there is an alternate extinction position between lines. So, ang isa, nag-extinct. Ang next adjacent na segment, wala. So, that is polysynthetic. Another common twinning is the tartan twinning, which is typically observed in microcline. So other terms for tartan twinning, crosshatch or Scotch plate twinning. So pag very taas ang probability na mag-appear sa board exam ang tartan twinning because that is a diagnostic characteristic of microcline as well as katong polysynthetic twinning in plagioclase. So pwede sa board exam, since computerized siya, mag-show og picture, tapos you will identify what type of twinning is this. So this is tartan twinning. Or possible question, identify that mineral, tapos may option. So possible option, may microcline, plagioclase, quartz, calcite. So since ang best answer is microcline, you will choose microcline. So this type of twinning is called tartan twinning. So remember that term, tartan, crosshatch, Scotch plate twinning. Scotch, just like katong Scotch na kuan, drink or sa din, plaid, P-L-A-I-D. So we are now done with orthoscopic. Let's proceed with conoscopic. So in order to achieve conoscopic illumination, you should have the polarizer, the lower polarizer, the condenser, which is the auxiliary condenser, the analyzer, which is the upper polarizer, and then the Bertrand lens, which might be optional if walang Bertrand lens. So, based on the path of light, this is orthoscopic. Straight lang ang path of light. It's because wala pag-insert ang auxiliary condensing lens. Once you insert the auxiliary condensing lens, it will now produce a strongly convergent. So nag-converge, conoscopic, converging. So that's how you can easily remember the difference between orthoscopic and conoscopic. So conoscopic, converging, converging light. So in conoscopic illumination, you will observe interference figures. So we have discussed interference figures. So you should have the condenser. You will open the field and aperture diaphragm, and then you will have to use high magnification. You cannot observe interference figures with low magnification. So dapat naka times 40 to times 50 ang objective lens. And then dapat naka XPL, of course. And then Bertrand lens, and then compensators. Because interference figures are used to determine the optic sign. So functions of the interference figures, you can identify if the crystal is uniaxial, biaxial, or isotropic. And then, again, we will use interference figure to figure out the type of cut of the mineral, whether it is perpendicular, inclined, or parallel, or any random na orientation. And then the optical sign, if it is positive or negative. And then the 2V angle, which is observed in biaxial minerals. So, what is the difference now between uniaxial and biaxial interference figures? So, for uniaxial, naka-cross siya, and then as you rotate the stage, it will remain as cross for uniaxial. For biaxial, sometimes it will appear as cross, but when you rotate the stage, mag-separate ang dalawang isogyres. So, sa uniaxial, constant cross, sa biaxial, it will separate as you rotate the stage. So, here's an example. So, this is the interference figure, and then as the stage is rotated, still cross gyapon ang pattern. So, this is uniaxial. This one is now biaxial because the two isogyres separated as the stage is rotated. So, kana lang. Pag mag-separate ang isogyres, it is biaxial. So, question, anong type of biaxial interference figure ang na-observe? Di ba, may optic axis biaxial, acute bisectrix, obtuse bisectrix, and then flash figure. So, nag-start siya as cross, and then nag-separate siya into two isogyres. This is acute. Acute lagi. Lagi acute. Acute interference figure sa biaxial. Okay, so first is whether it is uniaxial, biaxial, or isotropic. Next is the optic sign. So optic sign can be positive or negative, depending on the additive effects of the slow and fast components of the compensating plate and the mineral. So this is another example. BRP, positive or negative? Positive. So blue on upper right, the optic sign is positive. So this mineral is uniaxial positive. How about this one? I think same lang. Same ready ay. So this is still uniaxial, and then in this case, mica is being inserted. So tanawan lang nimo ang immediately diriya na portion. Naging blue ba siya or naging yellow? Nag-play to. Insert naman to ang kuan, accessory plate. So, dito ang blue, then dito ang yellow. So, BURP, naging yellow siya, so negative. So, again, use the BURP method. Okay, quiz. Determine the optic group. Diba? Uniaxial, biaxial, or isotropic. So, these are different interference figures na picture at different angles of rotation. So, from 0 to 90. So, is this uniaxial or biaxial? Clearly, it is biaxial. Kaya isa lang ka isogyre ang nakita. So, what type of interference figure? Is it acute bisectrix, obtuse, optic axis, or flash figure? This is the optic axis figure. In this case, dito ang melatope sa gitna. Pag isang arm, that is an optic axis figure. Next, determine the optic group. Still biaxial. Kaya nag-separate ang isogyres. This one, determine the optic group. Still, that is biaxial. Okay? Okay, that ends the laboratory section sa optical mineralogy. So we have covered the properties in PPL as well as in XPL. May questions ba? Tama na, may questions. So I know ang optical mineralogy medyo difficult, especially sa rules. But eventually, ma-learn niyo na siya as you practice using pictures. So may mga resources sa internet. So sa YouTube, if you want to practice, kung for fun lang, optical mineralogy is a fun na subject. It's because more on mga figures. Mag-identify yung mga interference figures and optic sign. So there are resources in the internet sa YouTube for you to practice identifying interference figures as well as pag-identify ng optic sign. And with respect to the type of questions in the board exam related to mineralogy, I think it's more on the basic na mga concepts. Do not try to mag-add to mo sa mga complicated na parts. It's because basig malimtan ninyo ang mga basic na mga concepts. And board exam is a test of how much you understood sa basic. Dili man sa test of how you understand complex na mga scenarios. It's more on mga basic. How yung sa ninyo pagsabot ng mga basic na mga concepts. So focus on really understanding. And of course, memorization. So in order to address ng mga dali ra ka makalimot, I suggest repetition yun. So for example, mayingon ka nga, dili na ako mag-review ani kay feel na ako, na-memorize naman ako. Pero with the increasing amount of information nga mga gina-take in, nagalabas pod ang katong mga old na information. So always go back, always review kay as the more you repeat each concept, the more nga nagadagdag ang percentage of retention or amount of retention that you can use in preparation for the board exam. And then, kuan, don't just read. Try mga practice questions. You can search mga practice questions sa online. So, for example, mo search ka optical mineralogy multiple choice questions. Daghan kayo pag mga resources that you can see related to optical mineralogy na multiple choice. Because it's another thing manggod nga studying is one preparation. Preparing for multiple choice type questions is also a different preparation. There are people nga nag-top notcher because they are good at multiple choice questions. So, dili lang yun siya knowledge, but more on your technique on how you will answer things, answer questions in the board exam. Also, I would like to share na as a board exam, one of my technique is the rule of 10. So, di ba? There are 100 questions in a board exam. So, I will divide that into 1 to 10, 10 to 20, 30 to 40, and so on. I will make sure nga in each 10, sure dapat ko sa 8 items. Di ba? Instead of reviewing everything from 1 to 10, why not focus sa 1 to 10 lang? And then make sure nga sa 1 to 10, you are sure of the 8 questions. It's because 80% manggod ang kuan, ang possible nga pwede ka mag-top notcher sa geology board exam. So if i-accumulate mo ang 8 points for 10 groups of 10, somehow medyo you're confident nga nakaabot ko sa 80. Kaya na. Kaya naman po yung mga groups of 10 nga si group sure ko ani sa 10 items. Napoy groups of 10 nga 7 lang imo ang sure. Pero in the process of reviewing your answers, ako ang pasabot. So dapat in reviewing your answers, you are sure sa 8 in each group of 10. Ang technique sa uban manggod kay ginamarka nila ang dili nila sure. Ako, before ko mag-proceed sa another group of 10, i-review na nako daan ang 1 to 10. Gets? For example, 1 to 10. So before ko mag-proceed sa 11, I will make sure nga 8 dito sa 1 to 10, sure na ako before ko mag-proceed sa 11 to 20. So that's my technique during the board exam. So, kadto, okay man ako ang score. So, I think effective siya para sa ako. So sa inyo try different techniques kung masawa ninyo pag-answer ang mga multiple choice questions. And with the computerized nature of the geology board exam, wala na gyud tong possibility nga mabagsak ka due to incorrect na pag-shade sa test answers. So all of the answers sa mga takers are valid. Okay. Check man siya by computer. So kana. And katong di ba day 2 na may identification of minerals and rocks. Ako, when I get pressured, kanang clumsy kayo ko, pag pressured kayo ko. So since ang mineral and rock ID is time pressured siya na part. So, ang ako ato is impression na lang gid ako ang gibasihan. Wala na ako nag-testing sa rocks. Pero in practice, you have to actually test good. Pero ako man good, dali ako ma-pressure. So, kung magkuan pa ko magkanang acid pa, mag-scriber pa basig mga tagak ako ang mga gamit ba. So, mag-cause ko og kanang disturbance sa board exam. So, natingala ganito ang kuha nato ang katong nagbantay ano dang wala ko nagdala og mga kit. So, ako apod kay dali ra man gud ko ma-pressure good. So, maging clumsy ko sa ako ang mga things. Pero kamo kung makontrol ninyo inyong self, which is dapat makontrol ninyo pagdala gyud mo og kuan, pagdala gyud mo og testing kit. Pero just to give you a heads up kung unsa ang nature sa mineral and rock testing, paspas gyud siya. Paspas gyud siya na rotation. Dili siya kanang usual na exam na you will take 1 minute, siguro mga 2 minutes kada sample. Siguro dito mga 30 seconds sa siguro. Kaysa kada gag takers, imagine 300 plus. And then divided na siya into different na kuan schedules. So, yeah. Pero, ito lang ako ang ma-share kay with regards to the actual question, medyo wala na gid kayo ma-remember. Even sa day 1, murag wala na ko ma-remember gid sa day 1. Ang first question, wala na gid. Sa day 2, ma-remember na ako kay katong staining, say color, pag kanimong i-apply. Sa day 3, ako na-remember kay katong mga calculations. Pero, in my experience, it's more on analysis yun. Siguro lucky ko kay dili more on memorization ang katong sa ko ang board exam nga time. Kay kung memorization, mag-struggle jud ko. Kay siguro sa mga minerals, ako ang gina-memorize lang gid sa mga common. And then ako ang mga kauban sa USEP, magano kay sila minerals na memorize, mga chemical formula. Ako wala. Ready ba ko? Murag gamay ra man ako na-memorize ng mga minerals and chemical formula. But lucky for me, kato nga time more on kuan gyud siya, more on understanding and analysis concept sa question. Gamay ra dito ang time ang about memorization. So day 1 and day 2, I hope makaya ninyo ang day 1 and day 2. Kay for day 3, slightly difficult. Anong slight ang term? Very difficult ang day 3. Out of this world ang mga question. So that's it for optical mineralogy. I hope I explained the concept clearly, and I hope maka-answer mo sa mga optical mineralogy questions during the mock board exam. So thank you so much.
Alright, so thank you so much, Sir Jarawan, for a very comprehensive and one-of-a-kind discussion. So we are beyond grateful for sharing your expertise and opportunities with us. So thank you as well to all the face-to-face reviewees. Wow,
Yes.
ang dami
Thank you. 15 face-to-face.
Yes. So I would, okay. So to show our appreciation, we would like to present you with this certificate, sir. So it serves as a small symbol of our immense gratitude for your contribution to our review and to our personal and professional growth. And for this afternoon, we will have the volcanology at 4 p.m. via Zoom. And hopefully na present pong tanan. So please don't forget to scan the QR code kanina. And to all the online, na nasa online, please don't forget to click the link sa Zoom chat box. And also, we would like to thank each one of you for filling out the evaluation form. We appreciate your kind words. Yes, mabasa po namin yon. And send po namin sa GC para kaming lahat alam namin kung anong dapat baguhin, anong dapat na i-improve. So every suggestion or feedback means so much to us, and please know that we constantly work to meet your standards and provide you with the best experience as possible. So nababasa namin yung sodium na, sino yung sodium? Si Kuya, Okay, so thank you so much for your time, everyone, and to our speaker, thank you so much, sir, and we look forward to future opportunities to learn from you. So, amping sa pag-uli o sa pagkaon, everyone.
Thank you, everyone. Sa online and to...
Thanks, Sir Jero.
Thank you, Sir Jet. You're the best.